Bali, that insta-heaven tropical island with jaw-droppingly beautiful beaches, charming endless party fields, amazing waves. They don't call Bali the island of gods for no reason. Bali has such an amazing, unique energy about it and offers something for everyone.
Amazing little donut right here in Tarabel Cafe at Uluwatu. I really like this place. Great atmosphere, and it's actually really good value for money in the hipster cafe category. Everyone wants to come to Bali, but you're worried you'll end up busting your budget. There are so many different ways that Bali can be enjoyed though, and it's not necessarily just that luxury lovers version that you see on social media where it's all about people partying in infinity pools, lazing around their fabulous villas and eating fancy salmon eggs benedict. Bali can absolutely be done on a budget. So today we're going to show you so many ideas for how to save money whilst you're in Bali. Hi, my name is Jean, and presently I'm living in Bali with my husband Vitaly and sharing our experiences and adventures in Bali with you through this channel. I don't know about you, but we eat like a minimum of 3 meals a day, plus drinks and snacks, so food is always one of the biggest things in our budget. One of the most fun things about visiting Bali is discovering the food scene. So there are so many high-end cafes and fine dining restaurants, especially in areas like Canggu, Ubud, Seminyak, with their $10 avocado toast and coffee. Eating there day in, day out gets pretty monotonous quickly though, and we actually find in our own experience that the real colors and joy of discovering Bali life lies also in exploring Balinese local cuisine, such as these goodies. For comparison's sake, eating local at the warungs can be as cheap as $3 to $4 for a meal for one plus an amazing coconut or a fresh tropical juice, whereas a similar meal at an upscale hipster cafe can start from upwards of $10. Another great cultural experience slash food tip is to explore the Balinese local markets. So they call these pasars, and there are night and morning markets, and the Balinese street food there is unbelievable, as well as being even cheaper than some warung prices. You can check out some of our great pasar finds on this channel, we'll link them right up here. And for the ultimate Bali budget traveler, there's always something called nasi jingo, which is little banana leaf packets of Balinese rice with a combination of side dishes such as egg, bean salad, sambal, and it's so delicious. And it costs usually just only 5,000 rupiah, which is like 35 cents. At that price, if you eat only nasi jingo and other Balinese street foods, your budget might just last you forever in Bali. So, immerse more in the local culture and save money at the same time. Sounds like a win-win to me. Transport costs can easily add up if you don't plan well and you end up taxiing around Bali multiple times a day. So, here in Bali, the roads are great. Buses are the main form of public transportation. This is a bus stop right behind me here. Unfortunately, if you're thinking about going around busing, it's not really viable because the bus network doesn't seem to cover enough ground. Take a lead from the locals, sort out your own private transportation. Now, in descending order of course, these are the options for private transport you might want to consider. Best stuff if you're in Indonesia, really good iced tea. Now, most expensive option will always be taxiing around place by place. So these days, most people use apps such as Grab or Gojek to order their taxis on an ad hoc basis. So you probably want to download these apps onto your phone before you come here. Next best option will be to actually book a car and a driver for whatever period that suits. It can be like a day, a week. This usually works out much cheaper than taxiing on the fly. Plus, an added bonus is if you're lucky, your driver can stand in as a part-time tour guide for a little bit of extra tips. Now, if you're adventurous, you can cut out the cost of the driver, rent a car, drive around by yourself. So Bali roads are great, and Balinese drivers are also really cool. They're patient, they're courteous. Compared to many Asian countries, driving in Bali is a piece of cake. However, it might be the wrong side of the road for you, you're not familiar with the navigation here. Plus, if something does go wrong accidentally, it can turn out to be a heck of expensive, so you want to think about this before you do it. Further down, we look at scooter options. So, the Gojek and Grab apps actually allow you to book motorbike taxis. These work really well and are cheap as chips. But the driver's sense of safe driving might sometimes clash with yours. Cheaper and much more convenient would be if you can rent your own scooter and motorbike around by yourself. But of course, this is granted that you have an international driver's license that allows you to ride a scooter in Indonesia. We rented a little Honda Vario, all insurance in, for about $56 a month. Stick a helmet on at all times, and do remember that the police do tend to target tourists. So if you're driving around without an international driver's license, or without a helmet, or these days even without a mask, you might be in for a hefty fine on the spot, upsetting your carefully planned budget. If you actually plan on being in Bali for long enough, you might also wish to consider actually buying a motorbike outright and then reselling it before you leave. If you manage things carefully, this way your transport costs over the entire time that you're in Bali might work out to be very little. Bali has all sorts of accommodation to suit all budgets, ranging from the largest down to the other end of the scale at about say $7-8 a night. For short-term stays, we recommend you try online search engines such as Agoda or Booking.com. For longer-term stays, what works very well are these Facebook groups for Bali housing and accommodation, so you can check out there. Things to consider would include stuff like, do you really need a swimming pool if you're going to be hanging at the beach every day? For reference, this is where we stay, and for something like this, you can expect to pay between like $400 to $600 per month, depending on how long you stay, the interior fittings, and whether you get cleaning services, etc. Surefire ways to lower this budget item include things like considering to villa share with your friends and fellow travelers. Perhaps if you intend on using the gym during your time in Bali, maybe getting an apartment equipped with gym facilities may obviate the need for you to spend more money on a gym pass. Especially for accommodation, booking online well in advance outside of peak travel periods is a great way to ensure more discounts. And also, the longer you stay, the more negotiating power you have with the rent. Also bear in mind the areas that you want to stay in. If you're comfortable scootering around by yourself, then maybe you don't need to stay right in the heart of places like Ubud or Seminyak to be exactly right next to the sights and the scenes. Maybe you can choose somewhere a little bit more remote, a little bit cheaper. And even though it may be a little bit more of a drive away, it might also come in some gorgeous wilderness setting sometimes. Just like the place we stayed in when we were last in Ubud, the Prawana Watu Kurong Resort, which we pay only like $34 per night. You can check that out in this link up here or in the description below. International travel and medical insurance is always something that kind of looks expensive and perhaps unnecessary until something unexpected happens and you have to pay a lot of money for like hospital fees and motorbike repair fees and whatnot. Also, if you are a foreigner, Bali Belly is a real thing. And if and when that does happen, it's kind of nice to be able to afford some quality healthcare without fretting about how much it's all going to cost you. As a cost control measure to ensure that your budget doesn't get busted, we think that travel insurance is always a great idea. And for the longer term international nomads out there, we find that the only travel/medical insurance option that strikes a great balance between costs and coverage is Safety Wings Nomad Health Insurance, which offers pay per month peace of mind for only $42 per month. So you can check that out in our link in the description below if you're interested. There are so many different approaches to experiencing Bali. Some of you may want to do TripAdvisor's top 10 must-do activities list in Bali and cover exactly that. But probably these 10 things might be crawling with tourists exactly like yourself, have been done to death by the millions who got there before you, and you'll be paying prices and tips per the tourism circuit. Ergo, elevated foreigner prices. Alternatively, you can spend more of your time discovering the Bali that lies off the beaten path. Be open to navigating more by yourself and interacting more with the locals. Balinese locals are the best. They're open, sincere, friendly, so generous with their smiles. And in our experience, they are only too happy to share their Bali with you. Doing it like this means you don't need to pay for tour guides or book tours with travel agencies. And it's always cheaper for everything: food, accommodation, entry fees when you're off the touristic circuit. Plus, there's always the added bonus of unexpected adventures and surprise detours and discoveries. Bali is also the mecca of fantastic nature and cultural experiences that also happen to be freebie activities. Spend a day lying around on any one of Bali's stunning beaches, free. Walk through the amazing party fields and enjoy the sunrise vista, free. Driving around enjoying the picturesque countryside, free. Visiting your neighborhood Banja community hall, where the locals are practicing their traditional music and dance performances, free. Catching sight of the Balinese engaging in their traditional ceremonial celebrations, such as at Galungan and Kuningan, free and pretty priceless, we might add.
I wanna say something, but you are all that I see.
So, alcohol and beach parties and beach clubs, entrance fees, buying beer and champagne, etc. Well, we don't know any secret hacks for slashing the prices on day bed reservations at El Cabron or Coup d'etat, but what we do see a lot of people doing to chill on the cheap is that they just hang out at the local warungs or cafes located on the beach, or just chill on the beach itself. You're listening to the same cool tunes while enjoying the same sunset, but you don't have to pay an exorbitant entrance fee or any premium on the alcohol that you drink. Bali has a lot of discounted clothing and apparel stores, as well as cool designer furniture and homeware stuff. For some of us, coming from certain countries, all this can seem really cheap and tempting. We've literally seen some people go crazy when they first visit the sales outlets. But, honestly, maybe pause to ask yourself if what you're buying is something you really need, or perhaps you might just be getting suckered into all the so-called flash deals and special offers. Because let's face it, sometimes even if it's at 80% discount, you don't really need that unique wooden footstool carved in the shape of an elephant or your 7th pair of flip-flops. On the other hand, if your idea of updating your wardrobe is buying 5 t-shirts in a whole year, then Bali's sales outlets are a fantastic place to get quality apparel at discounted prices, so you look smart for that year without spending a bomb. What's not to like? One of the unmissable aspects of time spent in Bali is getting a good old traditional Balinese massage. Again here, prices run the whole gamut. You can get luxury high-end massages and spa packages from the luxury resorts or high-end spas starting from hundreds of dollars upwards for a couple of hours. Or you can find a trusty little massage parlor place in your neighborhood that gives you the same transformative Balinese massage experience, just minus the bells and whistles, starting from like $12 upwards. At the lowest end of the scale, while you're chilling on the beach, you will tend to be approached by ibus who are trying to hawk you a sarong or perhaps offer you a beach massage by their trusty hands right there and then. Super flexible, you can even just get ibu to press your shoulders for just like 15 minutes. And actually the price is up to you to negotiate. So this is about as affordable as it can get for a massage in Bali. In our experience, the more important crux is finding a great masseuse who has a healing touch and is actually interested in making you feel better. So being at a high-end spa, paying more for massages may not necessarily guarantee you the best experience. Getting a massage in Bali is an experience not to be missed, and the magic of Bali is that it can be had at so many different levels. As with everything in life, the early bird that plans ahead gets the worm. Flights, accommodation, activities, transport, etc. all are better deals if you book early and outside of peak travel periods. Just so you know, that means May to October and the Christmas New Year period. Right, so that was a very long and comprehensive spiel on our take on how to save money whilst you're in Bali. Just don't forget, while you're busy traveling Bali on that amazing budget and haggling your way through the local markets, that at the end of the day, the true value of say $1 to you versus that to a Balinese ego in a village is so very different. So we say, don't get scammed, but like, don't sweat over the bargaining too much as well. Just, do your bargaining. Be happy that you may have contributed something to the local community and move on and enjoy your time in Bali. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to click like so that the YouTube algorithm will know to show this video to more people like you. Subscribe to the channel so that you can stay tuned to more Bali content similar to this. And otherwise, I will see you next Saturday. Bye!